Okay, so we are here today with Nanybel Salazar. Did I say that right?
Yes. Nanybel, yes.
Nanybel.
Yes.
And you are in Atlanta like us, so that's cool.
Yes, we're neighbors.
That's right. Okay, so the idea of these sessions is to really give our audience an opportunity to see switches in action. Okay, so those moments, those fork in the road moments where we feel that we need to make a change, where we're just kind of fed up, and something inside of us stirred us enough to make those switches. So we'd like to demonstrate that possibility to others that are probably on the fence, and by having these conversations with our good awesome folks like yourself. So we'd like to start off by just chatting with you a little bit about whatever you'd like us to know about you as a person. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I can tell you that I am a lot of things, but that don't define me anyway. So I can tell you all my accomplishments and the things that I've done in life. And I am a trilingual. I lived in 4 countries and at least 10 cities around the world. And I started traveling very young when I was 14, 15 years old with my parents. So that brought in my mind a big understanding about human beings and how people relate. And so the first time I moved actually was to France many years ago when I first get married, and I was only 19. And that was a big change in my life because I was coming from Venezuela, a tropical country, and I was always around family outside, and I was a baby. I mean, I thought that I was a Wonder Woman and I was just a baby.
All right.
So moving to France and then giving birth my first child and going to college there was a big change for me. And one of the things that I learned really fast was to blend in. And the way I did that was to immediately learn, I mean, of course, the language is the first thing that you have to do,
Right.
and try to understand the culture of the country where you moved to.
Yeah.
I moved alone with my 2 teenage sons. They were 17 and 13. Actually, my youngest turned 14 a month before we moved here.
Okay.
And my oldest one turned 18 a few days after we moved here. And I found out that my oldest son was going straight to college, and my youngest son was finishing middle school and starting high school. And I thought that it was a perfect time just to move, So we had a conversation a year before for me to start doing all the paperwork and talk to lawyers here and move my company and everything. So it was a whole year of work. I came here a few times and to talk to the attorney and get everything ready for them to move and for me to move and everything. So. But guess what? Moving with 6 suitcases, 6 boxes, $10,000, and nothing else. I left my aunt with a power of attorney for her to sell my home and send me the money later.
Oh.
And that's all I came with. I left a lot of items. I mean, most of my belongings, I left them there with my ex-husband and his wife and my family and my parents. And I thought that some of the things were going to move with me, and most of them never did. But guess what? I didn't need them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the change was so dramatic because not only changed me, the fact that I was moving and I was the boss, instead of having a husband that was the boss, making all the big moves for me, and having to make decisions on my own, and getting my son to school and to college and all of those things. They were kind of hard times, but they were absolutely incredible. I wouldn't change them for anything in the world. I wouldn't trade them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my children, the 2 of them speak 3 languages. They understand 4 actually, like me. And they travel. They have traveled the world too.
That's great. And that's such a fun way to live, just to experience. So
Yeah.
I'm hopping more on planes, especially now that the kids are bigger. And what you said, there was planning there that you had to do to make it work with your kids. And that's what we've talked about. We just need to plan it.
That's exactly what I did, because I couldn't imagine living without my children anywhere.
Yeah.
I knew that if my son started, the university in Venezuela, I wasn't going to move anywhere because I wasn't going to leave him behind.
Right.
So we had a serious conversation. We came here for a couple of weeks because, I mean, my brother grew up here, my sister too. And so I actually came home because my immediate family is all from here anyway. But the fact that I came the year before with my children for my birthday and spent a couple of weeks at my brother and sister-in-law here in Alpharetta, Georgia. And that was then, 22 years ago, that was like woods and lakes. It was nothing else. But we fell in love with the area. And I talked to my children and I said, well, would you like to make the move? I mean, if we decided today, there is no way back. So we sat the three of us. And I said, now we decided we go or we don't. And if we decide to do it, I have to start working on it. Imagine I had a big business with 11 employees, 2 offices. I was on live television every Friday. I had a TV segment, selling the products that it was a direct sales company. I had all those things. I had a home. I was taking care of everything as a single mother. And I decided to make the move anyway.
Your main switches have been around these diverse locations that you've been, that your traveling has taken you in. And
yes.
Learned from that.
Yes, and it's the location, the physical location, and it's also the physical environment, the culture, and the people that you are with.
And because why did you decide to start traveling? How did that happen?
Well, maybe because my dad and my mom traveled the world ever since they got married. My daddy had a job, but he managed to take my mom on a trip every single year abroad because he was brought up that way. Okay. And so he would save money to travel, and that's the way he started out when he was really young. And so I was exposed to traveling and tried different foods and tried different things. And it was also always the exotic things that actually caught our attention. Uh-huh. But then again, traveling when I moved, when I was 19, it was because my husband to be had a scholarship to go to do a master's degree in France. And so I found my way to get a scholarship to go and continue college in France. So that's what moved us there. Okay. But then I made so many friends, and none of them spoke Spanish. I mean, all of them came from either France or from somewhere else. And I had to fit in really fast and get involved into the society and to the group of people that were going to college like me. And then I always had that itch inside of moving and experiencing different things. And the bottom line to me is that when we travel, we see the entire world in a panoramic view. But when we don't, and we spend our entire lives in our little hometown, we see the world through a keyhole.
That's well said.
And that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
When you see the world through a keyhole, you are already biased by the news, by what people said about the other places or the other people or what they are about. And so you tend to just put in boxes things that actually don't exist. Mm-hmm. And I have been asked the most absurd questions ever. And for example, why would you like to go back to Venezuela one day? Are you happy here? And I said, of course, I'm extremely happy. I'm not going to Venezuela right now because it's a mess. I mean, they are at war, and I haven't been there since 1999. It's been awful, but I still have family and friends. And Venezuela is gorgeous. Geographically, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. But people here don't understand. They say, but you have everything here. Why would you like to leave the United States? And I said, because it's just gorgeous out there. I mean, you have to see it too. It's beautiful. But
it's a big world out there. That's why we love to travel as well. So we get it.
I've seen some of your traveling too with your children. That's awesome. I mean, yes.
Yeah, awesome. So this is not going to stop for you, Nanybel. You're going to be doing a lot more traveling, huh? But how about home? Is Atlanta home for you, or do you see yourself moving away again somewhere else?
Well, about a year ago, I had that itch again that I wanted to move up to the mountains. And when people say, okay, give me a mountain, I couldn't even tell. It could be the Alps or it could be in Colorado. I mean, I don't know, but I really felt that I really wanted to move up to the mountains somewhere. Yeah. because I feel really healthy when I am really high up. I guess because of my blood pressure is so low. When you know, so the higher up I feel, I feel just so healthy and you know, like alive. And I love to be on top of things. I mean, I like to look down on things and see the whole panoramic view. So I see myself up in a mountain. I don't know where. Probably not the mountains of Georgia. I don't consider them that large.
Wow.
On his face.
I'm not a Georgian, so.
But you have been there, right?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we've been here for a while. So.
I'm ready to go.
How long have you been here? How long have you been here?
Since 2001.
Oh, well, that's a long time too.
So about 16 years. So it's time. We've been itching to go, but you know, when you have those wonderful, sweet babies that are in a very good school district, you're just like, okay, let's just travel a lot more.
Yeah.
And to make it happen, I had to leave things that were unfinished. And I said, you know, they served me for a time in my life, and it's okay to let them go.
Yeah, it is. We tend to hold on to more than we even should. And when you look back at a lot of the things that we let go of, we're like, why were we even holding on so tight to begin with? We didn't miss it. We don't miss it. It's like, you know, it's like with stuff. So
Absolutely.
we collect so much stuff. Like, what for? We're always purging because we don't want to be collecting stuff.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes from like a learned behavior from your parents. Like, you know, your parents teach you so much stuff. But I think in some cases they teach you how to hold on to stuff. You know, they'll use terminologies like, you know, your friends are precious, your family is precious. You know, you always, you know, your family is, you know, all you have. So they kind of make it like, you know, it's crazy to leave stuff behind, or it's crazy to let that go because it's not gonna be beneficial until you get old enough to realize, like, no, that's pretty much not true. I can let them go because I don't see them anyway.
If I haven't worn something for a couple of seasons, I give it away. Yeah. And that gives me space in my closet for more.
Yes, exactly.
And so I wear the things that I really want. I get rid of all the junk. I get rid of all the clutter and keep myself, you know, practical. So I know that in a blink, I just can pack up in a couple of days, and I'm free.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah. What keeps you busy nowadays? What can, you know, our audience take away? What can you provide them as a professional? Because I know you do stuff. So I've seen your stuff and you've got some good stuff. So I'd love you to kind of share a little bit about what it is that you do.
Well, I do a lot of things, but the one that is really keeping myself really busy is that I'm speaking in public and I'm recording a lot of videos because I really want to. I mean, my biggest goal is to, actually it's a dream, because I hope that I can fulfill that dream one day, and it's to reduce the divorce rate in the world, and not by preventing toxic marriages or relationships to end. That's not the point. I mean, toxic relationships have to go. I went through those and they're really bad. It's about creating awareness about what to look for in a potential partner, and what are the red flags, so you can know before you meet somebody, even before you meet somebody, what to look for so you are at a better place. So I am called always the taboos debunker. And because I actually went through finding so many myths and taboos, I couldn't even count as I went through my fourth divorce. Four guys. It was just like, I sat down one day at my mom's guest bedroom crying and asking myself, what the world happened to me as I was going through my fourth divorce, and not understanding. I had all the whats and the whys and when, like everybody else, but those whats and whys are what we believe that we are. We play victims, or we play the perpetrators and feel guilty or ashamed or whatever it is, but that's not what it is. That's nothing to do with what is the relationship value and what you should have known before you met that person. Mm-hmm. And so before we enter a relationship, we really know what we are looking for. And it's not like, oh, I want a cute guy that understands me and gets me when I have my period, and that we can travel together around the world and we can do things together. Oh, I really want a girl that is so super gorgeous and has a gorgeous body and just, pleases me every time I want. That's just the icing on the cake.
Right.
But what really matters is some things that most people don't even know. And we don't know what we don't know.
Do you believe that society, in some cases, portrays marriage as supposed to be absolutely perfect? Like there's no arguments, there's always, happy-go-lucky, just lovey. And if you don't have that there's something wrong?
Can you repeat about loving?
Like, you know how in some TV shows and movies, like you have a couple that's always like, they're just lovey, like just in love, there's never anything wrong. No one argues. There's no fighting.
It's like the Cinderella,
Yes. Like, nothing's ever wrong. Yeah. Everything is just perfect. And
those are the cartoons that we watch.
Yes. And my question to you would be, do you think that also has an impact on people getting in relationships, believing that as long as they're gorgeous and we have a first few good dates, that everything is just going to be this way throughout, and once we have an argument or a disagreement, that means you're not the right person for me?
You just made my day, because this is exactly what I speak about all day long. Actually, I'm recording videos this weekend, and the first myth is the Cinderella story.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. So you want your audience to listen, and you want to listen to that, because that's one of my speeches actually, and it's been a total success. The first one is the Cinderella story, and I don't even call it a myth. I call it a hoax. Okay. It is a hoax. And you know why? I'm not going to tell you the story because I have to record that one. But the problem with the Cinderella story that we all believe in, because it's the Cinderella or the Prince Charming, right? There's so many guys out there trying to be the Prince Charming and getting heartbroken every single day because they really want to give and they want to protect the girl they fall in love with, and all that romantic hoax that they put in the movies, the romantic movies, the comedies, the Cinderellas, the cartoons since we are little. It's a brainwash. And they all, have you noticed that all of those movies end when real life began?
Yes.
Yes. That's a good point.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's true. It's like happily ever after.
Damn.
I just gave you actually the punchline of my speech, but it doesn't matter.
You know what? We would love for our audience, because we have a lot of folks that are married or looking for their own Prince Charming and Cinderella.
Are pretending to, or playing marriage.
Yeah, so I do feel that a lot of our audience can benefit from what you teach. So we would love for you to just take the opportunity to let them know where they can find you, where they can learn more about you.
Well, my name, you have to write it down somewhere there for them to spell it right. My website will be Nanybel Unedited.
Okay.
And because this is what I am about, completely unedited. I am very bold. And the whole point is just to help as many people as I can to resolve the relationship stories.
Okay.
So they can become whole again, start a brand new relationship with themselves first, get to unlearn all the taboos and myths that they grew up with, and let them go, and then be able to start healthy and happy relationships when and if they want.
Awesome.
And there is also a sign up. If they sign up, I will be just so super glad to send them my 5 myths, the whole report. I've sent them usually in five pieces, so it's not too much content.
Okay.
And I have a lot of things to offer there.
Where could they find you on Facebook?
With just Nanybel Salazar. They're going to find me. I have my private page, or I have my public figure page as well.
Okay.
And Nanybel Unedited is there too.
Okay, great. Now, before we do let you go, what would you like to leave our audience with?
Yes.
For those that are considering making changes in their lives, whether it is travel or anything else, what would you say to them?
Well, let me think, because there's so many things I would like to tell them. Since we were talking about traveling and making big changes in the world, just making the change and taking action is priceless. We can spend our entire lives dreaming about something. And we kept thinking, oh, when I retire, when my children go out to college, when I make more money, when I have a husband or a wife, when whatever it is that you are always putting your dreams into the future. Yeah. And the future may never come. Just think about it. You can be 20, 30, 50. You never know, you're going to drop dead in an hour from now. And that's a reality too. And this is not to be dramatic. This is life. There is one thing that we are never going to escape, and that is death. So why to wait until we are too old? We don't even know if when we retire we are going to be functionable. We don't know if we're going to have the energy. We don't know what will happen then. So why don't we start right now? You know, the worst I think the worst thing that we can repent or feel bad about, having remorse or feeling that why didn't I do that before, is not doing it.
Yeah.
The moment that you make the decision, and there is also something between making a decision and actually taking action. Right. You have to make the decision and plan it and start taking small pieces of action so you can get there in a period of time. Yeah. And there is nothing like moving ahead. I promise you, the moment that you decide that you want to move and make a big move, it doesn't have to be a physical move, but whatever you want to achieve in life, and make that move when you feel just so afraid and take action anyway, is going to take you to a completely different new world, and you're going to start attracting opportunities that would have never come your way if you didn't have your subconscious mind and consciously going towards that goal. Because you're not going to see them. They're going to be outside your radar of probabilities. You know, have you noticed if I tell you, look around the room, everything that is blue, and you start looking around, oh, blue, 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 and then, okay, stop for a second. Close your eyes. Tell me what was red in the room. And you will have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because you were paying attention on the blue, right? And there are a lot of colors. There's a rainbow in the room, but you won't see them. The moment that you start taking action and putting your focus on the things you want to achieve, and you say, okay, I really want to move to Hawaii, and let's put a date by 2018, whatever day I am going to move. That's what I did when I moved to the States. One way, I bought in January 1996, I was walking into the building where my office was. And at the bottom floor, there was a travel agency. It was January. And I walked like an automat to the place and bought 3 tickets one way to the United States, to Atlanta, to move August the 15th. Nobody knew. I told my children, I told my parents, and I told my brother and sister-in-law that were already here because I needed, you know, their help somehow to move and make the transition easier. It was July, guys, and I hadn't sold anything yet. My business was open. I was still on TV. I still had my 2 offices. Everything was open. I mean, like, and everybody said, you're going to move in 45 days? You're crazy. That's impossible. I said, no, I'm going. And he said, how are you going to move? I don't know, but I'm going to move. So all I did was I hired a couple of people that came to my home to sell whatever they could. Whatever they could not, I sent them to my mom's for them to send them, you know, to me later if they could. And I just started packing up whatever was left. And I moved.
Oh, wow.
I moved. My ex-husband came, you know, my children's dad came with another friend, and they helped me to wrap up, and I left all the mess that I left, and they said, okay, just do whatever you want with the rest. And I moved. And everything was like, when I got here, I was in a different world already.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just happened like that. And opportunities start flowing and flowing and flowing. It's unbelievable. It's like magic. That's when magic starts happening.
Well, we look forward to seeing your content as well.
Absolutely.
As you deliver.
Yes, I want to be sharing. I love what you're doing. I am just so proud of you guys. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's time with Nanybel Salazar, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.